Call Yahweh Bashim Al Shai Bashim Kakradash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone of well. I am not a member, however, I have entered into their labors. Peace and mercy to the sincere brothers and sisters doing this wherever you are, whatever your lot may be. And this is just another quick one, something that kind of slipped through the cracks here. Really just to kind of highlight the march towards the complete and total digital dictatorship that we are heading to. Not only that, but there were a couple of instances where I think it was like 6 so-called black people that were wrongfully arrested because certain PDs in certain counties or, sheriffs or whatever, certain law enforcement entities took out the human element of this AI thing that we are doing. And if you work somewhere, you can see it's being implemented, but on a lower scale, it's being implemented more responsibly. Some of these banks are using it as well, using the algorithms, but like these smaller credit unions. But what they're doing is there is not a removal of the human element. Like there still needs to be someone to step in and approve or disapprove or whatever. But I can see why that would be, because then they would lose money, not the people. They would lose it. So, but when there's no real consequence, they kind of just let this stuff run loose and depend on these algorithms. And these algorithms are these source codes are written by people with biases, right? That aren't true, right? That subscribe to without even knowing, Jake being a proverb and a byword, and being mislabeled and misrepresented and mistreated and miss every damn thing. Okay. But what I want to start with is Isaiah 14 and 13. Actually, no, we're going to read 12 just because, it is a future prophecy and it's something we're looking forward to. So we'll start with verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Not only that, but we can move to Obadiah around the 4th verse, okay? And we'll read that as well. That'll be our openers, and it will kind of pull some, dig through this here and get our information as well. So this is Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. Okay, now, you know what? Let me do 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right? And that is another reason why there's such a push for data centers, because if they actually cared about a sovereign nation being a sovereign nation and pouring into the economy, people have been asking for high-speed rail, in almost every one of the major cities, and, to no avail. But there's such a rush, such a pull to get these damn data centers built, right? And it's because they want to keep that eye in the sky, or really not even in the sky, the eye underneath your, the subdermal, if that's what it's called. That's where they want to put it. That's where the eye is going to be. And all that information will be pulled in central locations. So let's go ahead and scroll through what we got here. So U.S. fair lending enforcement curbed under the orange guy. And here's the article here. I think we can go back if we need to go back. Yeah, we can. Man, get the okay, and this might make me sign up. Hopefully it doesn't, but we're going to skip through here and see what we can get. So this was really just shy of a month ago, or really just about a month ago, okay? So the administration finalized a rule rolling back the fair lending enforcement by eliminating a tool used to weed out unintended biases and making it harder to bring claims that lenders discourage borrowers based on race, gender, or other characteristics. Okay, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the acronym that was up here, the CFPB, will no longer use disparate impact statistical analysis for identifying discriminatory lending practices under the Equal Credit or ECOA. And the agency said in its final rule posted Tuesday. Can I continue reading? Yes, I can. Okay, so we'll skip down here. Okay, one hallmark for the second administration has been eradicated for discriminatory race-based policies that have permeated every aspect of government under the banner of diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. I'm just scrolling through here. Consumer advocates that eliminating the disparate impact would make it significantly harder to bring discrimination claims, particularly as lenders increasingly rely on artificial intelligence. Yeah, they do, in credit decisions. This is the open invitation for some of the biggest companies in the world, including big banks and tech firms, to discriminate on the basis of race, which I still believe that they do. Instead of it being a covert way or a legal way that they have to, navigate through screwing people over, they can just outright do it. Okay. And, really this is just another way of redlining, but now instead of it just being Jake, it's even poor E. So he can't even be good to himself. So these poor and these regular day-to-day E's, they are caught in the crossfire of premium Jake treatment here. Well, I wouldn't say premium. The premium can also consist of unjust killings, or should I say murders, but they haven't got to that part, I guess, as of yet. So they got the Jake experience the light experience, right? Okay. So they can do what? They can restrict lenders' free speech, and the agency is curtailing prohibition in the final rule. Okay, so that's that. Now, it says the AI overview. We just went to the article here. Okay, so the elimination of disparate impact analysis, right? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, also known as CFPB, finalized the rule. All right. The statistical tool was previously used to identify unintended discriminatory effects in lending and to hold lenders accountable for algorithms or policies that disadvantage women and racial minorities. Shifting the burden of proof. So here's the other things that it does. All right. New policies effectively free financial institutions from decades-old requirements to prevent discriminatory outcomes, shifting the enforcement focus solely to provide explicitly discriminatory intent by the lender. So what does that mean? All right, maybe Sally Hershowitz. Well, they don't even pay interest. So let's say, I don't know, somebody that has the means, they're not middle class, they have enough wealth to withstand whatever's going on. They want to buy a second or third property, and that's at 6%. But if Jamal want a property in that same neighborhood, often he may have even better credit and a better history, and also more money as far as, liquid to cover whatever shortfall may be, whatever, what have you. And Jamal has a interest loan rate of 7.8%, while Sally may get a 6.2. I am totally convinced that still happens. It's just now it will be overt. Okay, more and more control is what they're seeking, and with that, comes the limit of your autonomy, and that's the main thing. All right, merging man with machine, and to limit the autonomy of the people, to centralize goods and services to one group so they can have it and control it all, and you will be at the bottom of the barrel scraping for crumbs that fall off the plate of the E-class. And you can interchange it with E-dumb or epistiffs, the the class, coined by the Iranians. All right, so broader regulatory rollbacks. The administration has sought to scale back implementation of small business data collection. All right, weaken tie requirements tied to the Fair Housing Act. Huh. So I asked broader regulatory rollbacks, and then I said to explain this in layman's terms. Okay, the government erased or weakened the rules that banks and mortgage companies had to follow to ensure they're treated everyone fairly. Would that not kind of fit in with the you will own nothing and be happy? First is the redlining, then this is a digital form of redlining, then you will have a drop in property value, and then maybe they'll raise the taxes, and Jake or poor poor Edomites can't afford, and then they will just either buy those houses from them, and it'll be rental properties, and then you will be left with nothing but to be able to rent. You will own nothing and be happy. The end goal for all of this, and you're seeing it move in different iterations throughout the financial world. Okay, it has its tentacles everywhere, but you can follow the money, and you see, and this is another example also, as how in the midst of chaos they roll things back. They're meeting in these rooms, and they're rolling things back. For Jake, and as they say, minority persons, women and minority persons, people, whatever. Okay, what it means in plain English: fewer rules for lenders. Okay, they stopped forcing banks to prove that their lending practices were fair to all demographic groups. Less data collection. Banks were no longer required to collect and report detailed data on who they approve or deny for loans, making it harder for outsiders to spot systemic patterns of discrimination. Easier approval for banks. Okay, government agencies loosened the criteria used to check if a bank was actually serving and helping its local community before allowing that bank to expand or merge. Shifting, and I don't know if this expands to credit unions, because banks and credit unions operate differently. But in due time, we're all going to see. Right, we are definitely going to see. And I'd be remiss if I did not get the main thing here. Put B in there. I don't even know what the hell is going on. Okay. Anyway, I had some Folly playing in the background as I was getting some work done, and that should just start playing out the blue. Interesting. All right, you got your little reels playing in the background. You get your work done, kind of help pass the time. That should just start playing out the blue. Anyway, them devils listening, boy. That's what it is. So we'll go ahead and read Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small, great, rich, poor, free, and bond, to receive a what? A injectable for the detectable in the right hand or in their forehead. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that have it, or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, that ties in, because merging man and machine were the two things, and centralizing control. All of it will be tied into one big source, somewhere in the cloud. And I don't I guess I do mean that literally and figuratively, somewhere in the cloud. Okay, all data will be housed. You will be monitored. Everything that you have, everything that you quote unquote own, okay, will be in the hands of a wicked and cruel Lord, right? The earth, for now, the earth is in his hand, and it may look like they are going to prevail, but that just simply is not the case according to Bible prophecy. All right, so with that being said, I did not want this to be very long, just something to bring out. And as you can see, the slick and slyness of the serpent of the devil, right? And amidst all this chaos, things like this, very very pivotal changes are happening, and that's how they do. make a big fuss with the right hand, and then with the sleight of hand, right, and with the left hand, they reaching in your pocket, pulling dollar bills out of your pocket, and you don't even know because you're too busy watching the big explosion. All right, but that's what they do. That is their tactic, day in and day out. That is how they have been able to pass things or reverse and repeal and all, and do whatever they needed to do. But yeah, keep an eye out on more stuff like this, and keep your head on the swivel. Keep praying, fast when you need to, but whatever you lack, pray. You need to pray to the Lord that you are kept, because we are close. There isn't a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about, how I'm laying down in the bed, at ease right now, at that point in time, lights on, air conditioning, all um, these first world luxuries, and at the blink of an eye, it could all be gone. And it kind of makes you, also be contrite and be grateful for the little things that before you were in the truth, you took for granted. So that's another thing to think about, another, exercise in gratitude. And that's just a duality, or the multifaceted way of you receiving information and receiving the truth and understanding how things should be and how things are, and also how things are going to be according to prophecy. And you can really, grow and be appreciative of the small things, right? Teaching you to be a king and a priest on the earth, as you were supposed to be. All right, so I've rambled enough. With that being said, I'll try to remember to link the article and other playlists to things that will further edify you. So with that being said.